All right, so I want to say something about, I guess, last week about the assassination of Charlie Kirk because, well, I guess like a lot of you, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it hurt my soul. I saw the video and there was like this pit in my stomach. It weighed me down. It felt physically gross. Here was this guy, I guess, this prominent right-wing guy, this figurehead for the GOP, and he's just gunned down in front of a crowd of students. And the thing is, you could sense it in the air. Uh, you could sense this feeling. Anyone, anyone who I guess you could call good, a person, a souled person, a good, clean, moral person, a souled person, they all had the same reaction. It was what now? How should we react? How will the left react? And how will the right react? Now, I'm going to admit, I was scared of a reprisal of violence. I think a lot of people were. We were scared that violence was going to beget violence, that there was going to be this horrible cycle, and that's the last thing anyone here wants. You know, I thought I'd see condemnation from both sides and from a lot of higher up people. I guess you could call them higher. I guess you'd call them higher class people, a higher caste system than the rest of us. Well, a lot of those people did condemn the violence, but there was a lot of everyday people, a lot of nurses, teachers, doctors, principals, people you deem professionals, right? And these people, before the body was even confirmed dead, before before we all knew, well, we kind of did know as soon as we saw the video, but as soon as we as before we even knew that he was 100% dead, these people started cheering and they cheered. And I'm going to use the word degenerate. That was degenerate, not really to their body, but to their soul. And you don't even have to be religious. That was denigrating to watch. Uh, they were acting like an other, and I'm using that word specifically. They were not acting human. They weren't acting humane. These people, I mean, they were acting like children celebrating something stupid, but they celebrated, they danced in the street, they mocked his death. They mocked Charlie Kirk's death, and they went to vigils and they started celebrating. They started threatening this guy's wife and kids. And I felt sick watching it all, you know? You don't even have to be, I don't know, there's left, right wing, or whatever, authoritarian, more libertarian. You don't even have to be anywhere on that political space to feel gross just watching all these people act this way. Kirk wasn't like this far right boogeyman. He wasn't this bigot that a lot of people say he was. He had the opinions of a grandpa. Honestly, he had the opinions of an older man. Your grandpa, he had the same opinions as Kirk. Your dad, he has the same opinions as Charlie Kirk's. One of your friends, he has the same opinions as Charlie Kirk. So when you guys, so when Kirk's death was cheered, it was like a slap in the face to a lot of us. If these guys are going to celebrate Charlie Kirk, the moderate guy, the guy who's willing to, go shake hands, sing kumbaya with everybody. If these guys are willing to shoot him dead on the street and then they'll cheer, that means they'll cheer for the death of my grandpa. That means they'll cheer for my dad's death. That means they'll cheer for my friend's death. That means they'll cheer for my brother's death. They will cheer for my death. When I'm dead, these in well, I don't these unsold people will throw a party in the street. And the thing is, I don't want to live with them. I want them to be alive. I want them to be I want them to be, in perfectly fine health, but I don't want to live near them. I don't want to have these people going to I don't want these people as my doctor. I don't want these people as my bosses. I don't want these I don't know. Sorry, I'm kind of ranting, but what I'm trying to say is that these people aren't acting in a way that is beneficial for a functional society. These people are acting as honestly they're acting kind of barbaric. They are not acting like any good rational human being should be acting. They're acting as if we are witches and that they caught us and they want to burn us at the stake. They're celebrating us being burnt at the stake because we go against their stupid dogma. Honestly, these people, they need to be, well, not literally. These people need to be fired from their jobs. They need to be ostracized. We can't have a society with these people. They need to be kicked out. They need to be socially hard and feathered. We you should if you have a neighbor who wants you dead, you can't be neighbors with that guy. If you have a boss who would cheer at your funeral, that guy shouldn't be your boss. It's not healthy for anyone. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out of my mouth here. But I honestly, I feel sick about the entire thing. I just feel sick about the whole event. These people want me dead. They want you dead. They want your grandpa dead. They want your dad dead. They want your uncles dead. You know? I know we all joke about having a racist uncle at Thanksgiving. Yeah, there's a difference between like, hey, Uncle Ralph or whatever, you could tone down your opinions, but that's very different than going up. You know what? I've had it up to here Uncle Ralph or whatever, and then shooting him in the throat. That's messed up, man. I don't know. Well, uh, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm kind of just ranting now, but for a lot of you, I don't want to live near you. You can stay away from me. You know, I'll chop down a tree and I'll carve out a big long pole, 39.5 foot pole, and you know what? You guys can just stay away from me. I won't even touch you with that pole. All right? Well, that's kind of what I'm just trying to say. If you cheered on this guy's death, sure you're a weirdo. You don't deserve to be in society. And goodbye.